Evil Dead Rise is the brand new entrant in the now over 40-year horror franchise that was started by Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi and lead actor of those first two movies, Bruce Campbell, both are back, both as behind the scene those as executive producers. Lee Cronin takes over as both the writer and director, coming off of his last film, The Hole in the Ground, based on 2019. This movie, Evil Dead Rise, is about estranged sisters who are played by Lily Sullivan and Alyssa Sutherland, finally get back together. And Ellie, played by Alyssa Sutherland, has her three kids. She has Bridget, played by Gabrielle Eccles, Danny, played by Morgan Davies, and Cassie, played by Nell Fisher. And a demonic presence makes its way into their high-rise apartment. The film is 1 hour and 36 minutes long and is for sure rated R. Welcome back to a brand new movie review. I'm talking about Evil Dead Rise. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell, do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and box office breakdown shows. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. I'm trying to get to 150 as quickly as possible. We're so close. Come join the Max Talks Movies community. Comment down below. First of all, are you a fan of this franchise? Are you going to check this one out in theaters? Is this one that you wanted to see at home? Also, if you've seen the movie, tell me, did you have a good movie theater experience? This is the type of movie that I think is going to be really interesting to see for people in a theater. If the goriness that this movie presents to you, it could be very disgusting to look at. If you've not seen the movie, tell me you're going to check this one out or not. And also, please like the video, guys. The thumbs up on that's how you support this channel. So I am definitely a fan of the first two Evil Dead movies. I'm not a hardcore fan. I don't really watch those movies too much. I do really love Evil Dead 2, and I really like Evil Dead 1. But I haven't seen those films in a long time. I did not see the new version that was made around 10 years ago. The trailers are definitely interesting. It could go really south or really good for this franchise. I think good news is I think it's going to be a positive for both people who've never seen these type of movies before and who have not. And the thing that I'm going to say is right off the bat, before I get into my thoughts, a couple notes. The one note is that you did not have to see an Evil Dead film in order to watch this film. Yes, there are certainly music cues and there's certainly callbacks to things that were definitely present in other Evil Dead films, but it does not take away your enjoyment or lack thereof of this movie. This movie stands on its own while also fitting into this, as I said now, 40-year-long, 42-year-old franchise. Again, 1981. 1981 was the first film in this franchise. And here we are in 2023 with a new version. So let's get into my positives and negatives and my score. And I think the biggest positive I have with this movie is not just is this movie tons of fun to watch, it is thoroughly intense. My heart was pounding. I do get anxiety, but it was in a good way. It was really intense, this movie. Kind of right away from the opening scene. We'll get to the negative, how it takes a lull, but the last, I would say 45 minutes of this movie is full go. Which is a huge positive because the ending of this movie is absolutely terrific. This movie is absolutely gory right off the bat. And if you're not the type of person who likes that type of gore, if you're not familiar with the franchise, this franchise is known for its gore. And this movie absolutely brings it. You just don't see a lot of horror films bring this type of gore into the fray. So that was really impressive. But I think it was great. It was not, obviously, it was fun to see particular things go on. And there's some definitely unique ways of people dying in this movie that was very unique. But the movie was thoroughly intense. You really did feel like all of the characters were in danger. And while it's a high-rise building and it's different that it's a mother who is the Deadite basically for this movie, it makes the movie really condensed. And again, it's very, very much, we're at this apartment for basically 95% of the movie. Or this complex, let's just say. And it feels very self-contained, but also very lived in, this apartment. It does feel like a regular old apartment. Another great part about this movie that there are excellent performances across the board. That's the thing I was kind of nervous about with the movie, that there weren't any. And again, this movie isn't known for those famous actors. Again, Bruce Campbell is the biggest name out of this franchise, but the performances were excellent. I think by far and away the best performance of the movie was by Alyssa Sutherland, who plays Ellie, who's basically the main bad person. She gets kind of taken over by this demonic, whatever it is. And she's terrific in the movie. And the reason why is they do actually give her the most screen time before she turns into the villain. They do a good job when she's turning bad to go back and forth between that kind of weird voice and her own voice, which I think gives the villain a lot of innocence to her, that obviously she's a good person. She has 3 kids. This is obviously the worst thing that could possibly happen to you, but there's also this demonic side telling you that this is not the same person anymore. And I think the balance and duality of that performance comes through obviously the VFX team, the voice team that really worked in both the scary voice and her voice, but also the performance from Sutherland. She can give that innocence in 2 seconds where even though she's taken over, you can still believe that the kids would think that their mom is still in there. And then she can also, with a switch of the finger, snap of a finger, be the most demonic thing you've ever seen. So I give tons of credit to Alyssa Sutherland. She is by far away the most fascinating part of this movie. She is a lot more fascinating than, sadly, the heroes of the movie. But again, a lot of the heroes are very interesting. Her sister, Beth, played by Lily Sullivan, who's kind of the lead character of the movie, she's also really excellent. I don't think it's on the same level, but I got a lot of flashes of Neve Campbell in the first Scream film. I don't know why, if it was her look or whatever it was just something that I was thinking of throughout the movie. But she was very good, definitely could have been the lead of this movie, easily believable. I think the best of the performances of the kids, though, was the youngest, was by Nell Fisher, who's only 12 years old. She is excellent in the movie. And those type of child performances can really make or break a film like this. But Nell Fisher absolutely delivers in only her, at least it's on IMDb, her 3rd role of her career. So she's off to a great start because she is absolutely terrific. And Morgan Davies and Gabriel Eccles are also very good. The dynamic that begins between Beth and Cassie is the one that kind of gets you emotionally invested into the last 30 minutes of the movie, and them making it out alive. So there's also, as I said, a lot of kills. The performances are really excellent because of this duality of the lead role. And also, it absolutely flew by. This is a fast 96 minutes with credits in the theater, which was a breath of fresh air as well. I do want to say my negatives. I out of the theater gave this a 3.5, and I'm moving it up, as I'll tell you at the end of this video. But the biggest reason why I can't get this to like one of my favorite movies I think I've seen this year is that the movie really can't happen unless characters make particular choices that I think the majority of people just would not make. There were, for me, a bit too many decisions where there were just idiots in this movie, especially the cold open, which is a good cold open. I think it could have been a great cold open if the characters weren't stupid. I think the characters were so stupid in the opening scene of this movie. And then throughout the film, I felt bad for Morgan Davies' character, because I think that character was the stupidest of the kids. There's no movie unless Danny is that interested in doing something. So at times for me, it kind of pulled me out with the particular character choices. They just didn't feel authentic. And they felt like the script needed something to happen. So we're gonna have a character do it, even though it feels like out of character. There were just too many of those. And for me in a horror film, you don't want to see those too often. There were like 3 or 4 instances where I was kind of talking to myself, wow, who would do that? Which definitely pulled me out of the movie. I think also the cold open until things get real is kind of boring. There's like a 20 to 25 minute section of this movie following the cold open, leading into, again, it's not a spoiler because she's all over the trailers and she's all over the poster. When Alyssa Sutherland turns into the bad person, it's just kind of boring. They kind of give you one character trait for our lead character. The kids get one character trait, and then we're just kind of in there. So this movie could have hit a lot more emotionally satisfying for me if, again, it was violent and action-wise, very satisfying, absolutely satisfying. I think this movie could have been easily the best movie I've seen all year if it was emotionally satisfying. I just didn't feel myself as attached to the characters as I wanted to be, as the movie does, as I wanted to get to the bad stuff really quickly, but I think they didn't do a good enough job of setting up those characters before we get into the action scenes. But overall, this is a really great horror film. This could easily spawn off more films in the franchise if it does well at the box office. Horror's had a very solid year here so far, and this definitely could be one of the better horror films of the year. So I'm going to give Evil Dead Rise a 4 out of 5 stars. I am going to go a solid 78% for Evil Dead Rise. Really good movie. I'm really happy about it. I wasn't super pumped going in. The person who I saw it with was very pumped about this movie. So I'm very happy. He loved it, and I had a good time with it as well. I think a lot of Evil Dead fans will love this movie. So that's my thoughts on the new Evil Dead film, Evil Dead Rise. Please subscribe, ring the bell, comment. More videos are coming soon, so click that subscribe button. I'll see you guys soon.